It was hot out there, by the way. Did it feel hotter out there today than?
I don't know. We weren't out there too long, so and that was intentional. Not spending too much time
good
out.
Planning. What was it like just having so many guys to choose from? Having 25 guys out there earlier in the week, 22 today, but.
Yeah, great. I mean, I think it's always good to have fit, healthy, hungry players on the field of play and in training, and you can just see a step up in everybody's overall, presence in training, whether it's quality or whether it's just commitment or whether it's just competition. And guys taking it seriously. So this week we've tried to push the competition factor and play little tournaments and do a lot of different games where something's on the line. And so far we got a great response. So today was a day to take out the volume and just focus on a few other things.
It's been a while since you had 3 games in 8 days, but the team and you guys have a good rhythm now on how to rotate players, know what guys can do, and
I think so. I mean, listen, we always try and put out a winning squad and play a winning squad. So, and I think we've been in games, and score lines might be flattering when we've been on the road against us, but a lot of those games we gave our values worth. Unfortunately, those games sometimes didn't pan out for us, but I always felt we grew in those moments. And again, we're 24 weeks into the year, 24 matches into the year, and you can see how much this group has grown.
With Tim Parker's impending fatherhood, is any change anything for this weekend, or is he going to go to Orlando and be prepared to fly back?
It depends. There's a lot of different scenarios that we've gone through and prepared for. So we'll have just about everything accounted for.
Mm-hmm. And Klaus is good to go and.
There's different scenarios. We've been down the different roads, and I've said it now for 2 weeks. He's roster ready, game ready. So
and just having him back as you guys were doing pretty well. He was doing pretty well before the injury. So I don't know how long it would take to recapture things, but
I think there's been many other guys who've stepped up during that time of need, right? So again, it's a whole team effort here. For sure, Klaus has his qualities, and all the other guys that we have on our roster have different contributions and qualities. So, again, 3 minutes ago I said it's great to have everybody in training because it just lifts the level of everybody else. So, for sure there's going to be some broken hearts today when we announce our traveling roster, but that's just the way, life is, and it just gives us incentive to be better and work harder and commit to the team even more. Because I said this is bigger than the individual, this is collectively something special. So, whether you 19 or 20 on the roster or 21st on the roster or don't travel or injured or, in a great run of form, it shouldn't change how we feel about each other.
Coach, do you feel like there's anything about an away record as far as what Orlando has at home that changes anything of how you go? So Orlando hasn't lost since April 29th or so. You had a similar situation with San Jose. Does that kind of a record for an opponent at home change anything for you?
No, I'm just focused on our away record. And I'm not sure the last time I checked. I don't know if that's second or third in the league, So that's all I'm interested in.
And then Niko's here. So is there anything that a player playing a former team does to the group that you've seen? Does it change anything mentally or how they approach it?
It could go one of two ways. It adds incentive to play against your old, team, whether good or bad. Sometimes you part ways and you get a standing ovation. Sometimes you part ways and it's not so pretty. So, I mean, listen, it just should, push each individual, whichever way they feel about playing against their opponent or the next opponent, should not get too much into the emotional side of it, especially against a team like Orlando. It's a very emotionally wound team, and we play an aggressive style. So there's going to be a lot of edginess and a lot of chippiness in that game naturally. So I don't think we need to add any other spice based on, if players played there or not, or, that's a question for Nico. But, I think, we don't want to get lulled into thinking about that too much because Nico's done an amazing job and he's growing through the season. And, you can see that the quality that Nico has. And, he's our top goal scorer now with 10 goals. So really, credit to him and his pathway and his growth. He has an obsessive desire to get better every single day. And we see this in training.
Style of play-wise for Orlando, they're almost as direct as you, although in a different way. They like to play the ball through their middle, and they're strong on the left. Do you see things like that where they're third in the league in open play goals as playing a factor in not only the lineup you send out, or is it more just whoever's out there have to be aware of certain things?
Yeah, listen, our profiles don't really change. I mean, listen, we're confident of who we put out there in any one of our players, right? So, and yes, we have to mitigate a few of their challenges, like you so rightly say, because they're pretty good down the left-hand side, but also down the right-hand side. They have a good asymmetrical approach to their game, right? So whether they keep Carl Smith home or get him out, on a wing-back overlap remains to be seen. We can prepare for the images that we have. We can prepare for, our game plan model and try and put it to them, because I think we'll pose a few challenges ourselves. It's good team. They're 4 points behind us. In the Supporter Shield standings, I believe they have 40 points. We have 44. So credit to them. They've done a good job, and they've got good individuals, and they're game changers. They have guys, competitors. Junior Urso, like this guy is a competitor. He's a winner by trade. He's not easy to play against. Whether we'll see him or not is not my problem. But still, that's in the locker room. Those are the type of characters that are there. We have to be ready for that.
Right along the lines of Orlando having 40 points, being 4 points behind City. Around this time of the year, do you look at the table at all to see if some of these games may have implications for Supporter Shield or for playoffs, or is it more focused on yourselves?
No, I just think it's ridiculous that we're still talking about that. Not ridiculous from your point. I'm just saying, we're still talking about Supporter Shields, right? I mean, 24 match days in, we're still where we are, and it's that's all we focused on. We focused on our internal table. We focused on our internal stuff. So, where it portrays and where it gets us to at the end of the season, then we'll unveil that all and see where we are, right? You guys see where we are, 44 points, but there's a lot more, on that, down the line through our pathway, how we do the data, how we track things. So, so far we're overachieving still. And even if we lost every game until the end of the season, it's still an overachievement.
I noticed Miggy, Isaac, and Pedro weren't in practice today. Are they already ruled out for Saturday's game?
Yes, I mean we've given them off today. We sent them to City 2 for valuable training minutes Friday, Saturday, and to play Sunday to be eligible and play for Bobby's team. Yeah.
It's your last game against an Eastern Conference team, if I'm not mistaken. Has there been a difference between Eastern Conference teams and Western Conference teams?
Stylistically, for sure. Eastern Conference teams have a different DNA to the Western Conference. Listen, it's going to be a edgy game for sure. There's the Philadelphias of the world, there's the Red Bulls of the world, there's the Orlandos of the world. So for sure we take that all into account, and we look at opponents who might have played against them, and pose them certain problems in many different ways. But stylistically there is a distinct difference from East and West.
Have you been to Disney World?
No. My kids have.
No. But they didn't take you along?
No. Some of us had to work.
Everybody else is fit. Nukvi came through his first game well.
Yeah, he seems like a true pro. Like he's got a good awareness about his body, where he is, and in what status he finds himself in. So, doing a little bit extra here and there when the conditions allow him to. So he seems like a good pro with a good mindset to grow and develop within our system. So yeah.
Were you expecting him to be in that good a shape when he so quickly to come in?
Yeah. I mean, before he arrived, he played like 4 weeks prior to joining us. He played a game, so we thought he would be in good shape.
And let's see, and Joachim's fine, and he's gotten through this. He came through.
Sure. We had tournament day this week, and that's where the loads are. Competition and loads are really high, and he came through it, really well.
Coach, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
Alrighty, thank you.
How's the nose?
All good. I just got a goalie drive straight to the face. So
yeah,
that's all right. I've had worse.
The nose deadened the blow. It didn't
No, it definitely woke me up. Definitely a good way to go to Orlando.
What was the Orlando experience like for you?
Tough mentally, tough physically. I mean, it was, let's say, not as explained to me. I took it personally, but these moments always make you stronger, smarter, wiser. So I don't regret it at all. If anyone ever has a question about regret, I don't. Everything happens for a reason, and I've been looking forward to this game for 8 months now. So definitely ready for Saturday.
Tough just because you weren't getting in games?
Yeah, it was hard. It was, I came to a group where it was 99% already established. I was coming off a very tough season in Europe. It's to come in and bounce off a few minutes is not easy. So, it's a situation where I had to be patient. It didn't work out in the end, but, now I'm here. So, as I said, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah. When did you get in there? How far into the season?
It was end of July.
July.
End of July. And I got into my first game, I think middle of August. So around this time now, yeah, about a year ago.
So when the expansion draft came around and you saw you were coming to St. Louis, it was
it was the news of the year for me. I remember shopping in Paris. I'll remember every second of it. I got a call from Lutz and Bradley, and they said, "Welcome to St. Louis." So, I had previously known that I wasn't protected, which was also good news to me, knowing that I came off of I was in a situation where I wasn't going to get much chance. So, definitely more than happy that call arrived, yeah.
So were you strolling on the Champs-Élysées, or where were you?
No, I was in Galerie Lafayette, but very similar, yeah, very similar.
Yeah.
Not a place where you save money.
Yeah. So just vacationing at the time?
Yeah, it was definitely a mental reconstruction moment. Some pleasure. I'd missed pleasure for a year and a half, so I needed to find a way to expel my rage, and it was by buying a couple things, yeah.
What did you like to do in Paris? What were you, museums? What kind of? What was
I lived there for 3 years in Paris, so I kind of know where everything is and everything was. But I was focused in school. I was in high school trying to get through it, trying to, manage both my young pre-professional career, getting into training not late, hour subway every day, there and back was a couple. So, I was more so trying to keep afloat. So yeah, that was about my Paris experience.
The Orlando experience from on-the-field perspective, you've talked at length about the striker's mentality, being in form, needing to find goals. What was it like mentally to go into that environment? And you started 2 games, you only played in 6, and it seemed like they played you out of position.
Yeah, good point. I was playing right side, right mid, right wing, which is not at all my position, but I'd played there in the past. I had tried my best, and their style of play was a lot different than what I was accustomed to. And also coming from a year of play where I didn't get much out in Montpellier, coming to a place where I was hoping for a lot, expecting for a lot more, I didn't get. So at the end of the day, that all builds up in the mind and makes it more difficult. So yeah, it was tough. It was very tough.
And then now, obviously, leading goal scorer for City, just hit double digits. Seems like things are trending in the right direction. Do you feel like there's an added responsibility for you being kind of the leader of the line?
I need to score goals. Simple as that. That's my job. That's what I'm paid to do. There's no excuse to not score goals. Some games obviously are harder than others, but I've accepted this, and I have to in order to progress, is to be, if I'm the first one up top to be in front of the net, I have to put it in. If not, I'm not doing my job. Defenders know what their responsibility is not to concede. Berkey knows that's his goal, that's his job. We all have our jobs on the field, and mine is to put the ball in the back of the net.
This game, obviously for you, is a little personal or a little different than anybody else on the squad. When these kind of games come up, do you feel like it's your responsibility to pick up another player who's playing a former team, and do you see anything different from your teammates going into this one for you?
I just want them to give it their all, just like every other game. I don't want them to see it any different. For me personally, it is different, but for them, it's the same game as they always play. Obviously, I'd like them to feed me the ball a little more often, so I can get a few more goals. But at the end of the day, it's a game like all the others. Just coming from my angle, they will understand my personal connection to this, how important this game is to me. But the most important is to get to playoffs, win every game we can. My goal is to win MLS Cup. I don't have any other goal. If I don't score for the rest of the season and we win, I'm happy. So at the end of the day, this is a game where I want to score, I want to win. But the most important part is to get the 3 points.
Nico, you mentioned they were playing you at right mid while you were there. Were there any conversations during your stay there about maybe playing you in your natural position?
No, nada. Nothing. It was, on the Zoom call I had in France before I signed, it was about, possibly playing a 9. But once I got there, no, it was not a question. They have the DP striker Cara. They had who did they had Gioacchini, they had Benji Michel. So it was a loaded group already, which I knew going into this. But I always believed in myself. I always will do, and I believe I could have found a spot. Didn't happen, but they never really talked to me about playing a 9 while I was there. No.
And do you keep in touch with any of your former teammates in Orlando?
Most of them are gone too, so not really. I mean, I exchanged a couple emojis with Facundo a couple days ago, but more than that, not really. I'm definitely gonna be happy to see them. I have nothing against any player there. It was a great group of guys. Obviously the language barrier was a little tough, but no problem with any of them.
So what time of day was it when you would have gotten the phone call from Brad and Lutz?
It was the evening for me.
Yeah.
It was 7 something. So.
Did you buy anything in celebration of your rebirth?
Nah, my card was maxed already. It was ran down. So even if I wanted to, I'd have to ask my sister or my brother or something. But no, definitely not me.
And you were there with your mom?
Yes, I was there with my mom. She wasn't with me at the exact second, but she was in the vicinity of me. Yeah.
Hey, Klaus is back, or should be back. What does that mean to this team?
Oh, I'm happy. It's been a while. Definitely to see him back in training was great. He's a super guy, great player. We have a great connection, which is not something you find very often in soccer. So to have him back is great. Hopefully he'll be able to play this game, at least be in the group. I'm not sure yet, but definitely looking forward to being on the field with him again.
How has this team changed offensively? How the offense and the scoring looks now compared to when it was the two of you up front?
It's obviously different. I was playing as a 10, so it was more of the creative aspect of the game, trying to feed him balls, trying to connect more. It's a good question. It's something where every scenario, every player you play with is different. I've taken on almost his responsibility when he was a 9, is to score goals, to be higher on the field, is to not, compress too much the field for our midfielders, to be able to feed him the ball. It's kind of the same situation I'm in. So, we're both pure 9s naturally. So we have that instinct to score goals, that want to be high on the field, to be as close to the goal as possible. So, the game plan hasn't changed, tactically. Just, I have to adapt a little more to who's around me, as he would have had if I were gone. So not big changes, but the small, the devils are in the details. So the small ones do make a difference.
It looked like in the first few games after he got hurt that it took you a while to adapt to that. And then
it took me about 3 weeks to a month, I'd say, to really almost come to my senses, because I was really lost. It had been a long time, maybe 18 months since I'd really played as a forward. So you needed a refresh and some advice to recap what you had inside of you, because it is an instinct to be a 9, but sometimes it gets a little lost in the way when it's not practiced on a weekly basis.
So now it's probably going to be a while before Klaus is playing extensive minutes, but is there going to have to be a retooling, or you think any adaptations would go more quickly?
No, confidence is a big part of that. When you have confidence, your mind is a lot more relaxed and not so rigid on things. So, as soon as I changed, I was lacking that confidence because it had been a while. You know, I played 10, 6 or 5 months ago, 4 months ago. So it's not as big of a change. You know, I know also how Klaus works. I know his movement. I know what he wants. So it's a whole different scenario. But definitely, if they put me back in the 10 position or we play as 2 strikers, I'll know what to do.
How big a difference is between a 9 and a 10?
You know, I like to say, I'd rather say 9.5. 10 is a guy who drops a little lower. You know, a 9.5 more so is another striker who works with the main striker. I'd say Klaus is the big 9, is the hold up play striker. So I need to be a little more agile in terms of my movement around him. I need to be able to pick the little pockets where he has a solution when he gets the ball. You know, it's kind of that difference. You know, when you're a pure 9, it's mostly, you know, you lay off, you go, you change, you keep high on the field, so you create space for the 9.5 and 10 to be in those pockets, to be able to be found and turn and find the striker. So it's a little bit more of a creative, awareness type of play. You know, you need to have those tools to pull out of your pocket whenever you need them. You know, a quick skill move or a little check over the shoulder, all these little things that you do as a 9 but not as frequently.
Is there a name for a 9.5?
Nico.
Nico.
You can say Nico.
It's convenient. It'll work.
Yeah, there you go.
You're playing a Nico.
You're playing a Nico.
We'll run with that.
Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
You're welcome, guys.